Good morning. Welcome our Remax First Realty 2 and Remax Tri County agents. Today, I am excited to cover another think tank. The topic today will be how to add value. This topic came up because one of the exercises we have a lot of the agents do is really just explain their value proposition and why someone should work with them rather than any of the other thousands and thousands of agents throughout New Jersey. So defining why someone should work with you and why someone should choose to hire you was the task, and adding value was one of the things we talked about. So someone asked me, well, what does that mean, adding value? How do I define what my value is that I'm adding, etc.? So overall, the definition or term adding value means any additional features or anything you can add, whether it be of economic value or value in general, to a search situation to better or help the situation. So everyone needs to define what their value is, what they bring to the table, what you do in addition to the services that are being rendered by everyone else. So as realtors, we know the process. If you're working with a seller, we put in a multiple listing, we hire professional photography, we get brochures, we do an open house, we do a broker's open house, we follow up, we get feedback, etc. So that's the typical process, right? How do you add value to that? If you're working with the buyer, we're sending you email alerts with new listings. We are, of course, showing you homes. We're negotiating the process. We're holding your hand from contracts to closing. But how do you add value to that? Because we all do the same process, use the same process rather, and do the same job, right? But how do you differentiate yourself versus the other agents that your clients or hopeful clients may be interviewing? And that's why you need to define your value add, what your value proposition is, how you go above and beyond for your clients. Why are you worth working with versus, again, choosing another realtor? You have to realize sellers are interviewing multiple agents. Some sellers are even thinking about doing it on their own now because the market is on fire and they've seen all the photos and posts of 80 people online at an open house, or seeing the post of in 2 hours we generated 20 offers. Well, they're thinking that they can do it on their own. So guys, if anyone's doing that, don't do it. It doesn't help us at all. It just shows the seller that this is easy and they could try it on their own. But going back to examples of adding value, let's talk about sellers. So you can tell the sellers that you're doing target marketing. That's a term that I always use. And if someone ever asks, well, what's target marketing? Well, I can, through the data that I've accumulated, I know where the buyers are moving from. So a lot of our market in Union County and Middlesex County, et cetera, the buyers are moving from Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, New York, Jersey City into our areas because we're along the train line. It's an easy commute into New York. So because I have the data of where the buyers are moving from, I do ads to target those buyers and place your home in front of them, which generates more activity on your home, inquiries, appointments, etc. Another thing you can tell as an example to a seller of how you add value is you're leveraging your realtor relationships. You know, Mr. Seller, I would love nothing more than to find the buyer for your home and obviously represent them as well as you. But I know that there are thousands of other realtors, and if they all had one buyer, I want to leverage those relationships and get as many people in here as possible. I may not have the specific buyer, the buyer that wants your home, or the buyers that want your home may be working with the realtor already. So if they are, I want to leverage those relationships and get those realtors here. So networking and using my database of realtors, active agents in the area is something that I do. Uh, Hey, I may have my own large pool of buyers because I'm doing target marketing. One of our agents does his own tours, where he's bringing out 7 to 10 different buyers on appointments every time. And that's something he can leverage on his listing appointment and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, here's what I do. I have my own pool of buyers that I've generated and I take them on tours to show your home. So if you have your own pool of buyers, you have your own database, you do your own proprietary marketing where you can demonstrate that you have a network of buyers, that is something that, as an example, you would show to add value to a seller beyond what typical agents do. You can be more hands-on in the process. You know, typically with the home inspection issues, the attorney sends you the report and asks you what you want to fix. I'll come in, sit down, and walk you through, and we'll look at each item line by line. I'll be more hands-on in the process. I'm always available. Whatever it is, whatever service level you can provide that's higher, that's how you add value. For buyers, no surprises are the best surprise, right? I will walk you through and set up the expectation of everything that goes on with the sale of the home, whether you have step-by-step processes via video, whether you have step-by-step processes that you can email out along the way, or whether you're just going to sit down or do some calls and do one-on-ones to just walk them through. That's a higher level of service than what's typical in our industry. I'll work at your pace, no rush, no matter how many amount of homes, whatever your timeline is. I'll be there and I'll work at your pace. And also, sometimes as a buyer agent, what you may do to add value is I will seek and source properties that aren't on the market. Whether you have a farm that you're farming, whether you're calling, knocking on doors, calling expireds, etc., farming again, if there's something you can do to hopefully generate off-market properties or properties prior to being listed, it could be leveraging relationships with listing agents. When I was in production, I had probably a dozen agents that would call me consistently asking me, what do I have coming on? They have a buyer looking for X, Y, and Z. And we got a lot of deals done that way. So leveraging your relationship with listing agents may be some way that you add value. But of course, you have to be able to execute that on that. And sometimes it's the education, right? Finding out that they really need to be on a train line and they're looking at certain towns in Union County, but they may not know about what I call sleeper towns. Garwood is one, Fanwood is one, not as big or popular, but they have trains and they have decent schools, etc. And sometimes educating them and walking them through, giving them more options is how you add value. So they're not just stuck in one town that may not have inventory and they're waiting forevermore. So that's how some examples I would say of what you guys can express or say to someone as far as demonstrating how you add value. But ultimately, guys, it's providing a higher level of service. And I'll give you one last example. If you're going to a hotel, a lot of us are going to Triple Play this week. I'm actually headed down once I'm done with the think tank. Think about if you walk into Harrah's, the Holiday Inn, uh, Hilton, Ramado, etc., and you say, "Hey, can you tell me where the gym is? I'm staying here and I need access to the gym." They're going to tell you, "Oh, go way down the hall, go up the escalator, make a left, go through the double doors, and make a right, and then go down the stairs, and you'll see the gym." Right? And you're like, okay, let me try to remember that. But if you go to the Ritz Carlton or the Four Seasons and you say, hey, I'm looking for the gym, I'm trying to work out, they'll say, Mr. Lewis, follow me and I'll escort you. So that's a higher level of service. Figure out what your higher level of service could be. Most people, I don't know anyone that wouldn't want the Ritz Carlton or Four Seasons level of service, right? So if you can provide that, if you can take the process and add to it, that is how you add value. But guys, the most important part, well, two important parts besides knowing how to articulate that is you have to deliver on it. And if you could deliver the white glove service, guess what? The word will get out. Your referrals will go up. People will speak about you. They will not just mention you, they will be your advocates. You have to use my agent. And that's how you're going to grow your business and grow your referral business. So, hope this was helpful to those watching. Let me see if there are any comments. If not, I will see you guys on the next think tank. Enjoy Triple Play, enjoy the holidays, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Happy selling, everyone.